We have 2 lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have 1. And even though I know this, I still feel that constant pull towards my phone, towards the one activity that doesn't actually fill me up, that leaves me feeling drained, less motivated, and just less excited to go out and live that one life. So lately, I've been replacing my phone with hobbies. And here's why I think you should too. Okay, so before I explain why hobbies and which ones I have personally been finding the most success with, we've got to talk about some science. There are a ton of new articles surfacing talking about just how bad social media and doom scrolling is for us, outlining things like how social media affects our sleep, mental health, and even just how burned out we feel on a day-to-day basis. I personally have felt the mental clarity that comes from being totally disconnected from the internet and social media. I lived in Bolivia for 2 full years, and this was the phone that I used every single day. These were some of the most incredible years of my whole life, and I can personally attest to the difference it makes when you leave your phone behind. But here's the thing, we can't just all go live in Bolivia to get away from the noise in our phones. And it's becoming more and more obvious that doom scrolling is bad for you. You don't need me, some random dude on the internet, to tell you this. You know it, you've felt it. In my opinion, the actual most interesting research about this kind of whole topic is around habits and how we can break our bad habits and form new ones that actually stick and replace those bad ones. Back in 2018, a book was released that changed how so many people around the world think about habits. Since then, it has received 1.4 million ratings on Goodreads and has helped me personally overcome some of the bad habits in my life. And that book is Atomic Habits. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard about this book, but it's all about how to take back your life, how to leave your bad habits behind and not pick them back up again. Exactly what I want to do with my phone. I want to put it down and never pick it up ever again. And the 2 things that James Clear talks about that I really want to focus on are why replacing our bad habits with a new activity is so powerful and how friction affects whether we actually stick to that new activity. Because let's be real, if we don't use friction to our advantage, it's going to be used against us. I don't know how many times I've been like, oh yeah, it's going to be different this time, just to find myself lost down the rabbit hole of Minecraft Leviathan conspiracy theories, which to be fair, this video is pretty good and I would like to watch all 88 minutes of it. And so for my activity, I have selected a couple of specific hobbies, things that I loved doing as a kid or have just really been enjoying recently. But why hobbies? I mean, what do they do for me that other activities don't? The reason hobbies are so powerful is because they require active attention, agency, and creativity as opposed to the mindless consumption that is short form content and social media in general. You have to make decisions, solve problems, and actively engage your mind in order to actually participate in and enjoy these activities to their fullest. Take the cosmere, for example. You might think that reading is a pretty passive activity, and yeah, I mean, you're not a train doing a kickflip into a power slide while battling a giant robot at the same time. But oh my gosh, you have to remember so much stuff about so many characters and places and the magic system and how everything ties together in order to fully enjoy the experience. I read Mistborn in high school and I'm rereading it again right now, and there's so much that I understand now after having read a lot more books in the cosmere than I did when I was in high school. And I loved that book in high school, but reading it right now has made it so much better than it even was back then. I remember one scene when I was reading the Store My Archive, I think this was in the 2nd book, and I literally was shaking from the adrenaline after reading this part of the book because I got so sucked into the story. I was there with the characters. And I had to stop reading the book for like a week because every time I started to try and read again, I just got so sucked in. I had to separate myself from it because it was too powerful. This is a level of immersion and connection that social media will just never be able to replicate. And that really is one of the reasons why I love books. But if you're the type of person that doesn't want to have to imagine everything, that doesn't want to have to build the whole world in their mind, but you're still looking for something that requires active attention, quick decision making, and still gives you incredible new adventures to embark on, if that's the case, I have found that playing games is actually one of the best replacements for doom scrolling. There is so much to be said said about gaming. It transports you to another world, lets you discover new secrets, and gives you some of that childlike whimsy that I am personally sorely lacking in my life. Now, you could argue that screens themselves are the problem, and if you're playing video games, you're just replacing one screen for another. And yeah, I mean, there definitely are issues with just too much screen time in general. For starters, being on a screen does lead to a more sedentary lifestyle. It's kind of hard to play Nine Souls on the Steam Deck while you're going on a run, you know what I mean? Too much time using devices with screens can also lead to excessive eye strain as well as shoulder or back issues. But there is a massive difference between passive consumption and active agency. Gaming forces your brain to actually work, to strategize in Deadlock, to optimize your crop placement in Stardew Valley, or to connect with real humans at a LAN party or tournament. There are actually a lot of studies that talk about the cognitive benefits of video games in people of all ages, from increased gray matter just by playing Mario 64 and learning the landmarks in the game and navigating yourself based on those landmarks, to just generally lower levels of stress and anxiety. Video games do have measurable health benefits. And for me personally, gaming just makes me happier. I don't need a study to prove the feelings that I feel when I play video games. I have a good time. They make me happy. I also love being able to look forward to playing games at the end of the day. It makes it so much easier to get through the grind of work and just daily life when I have something fun to look forward to. And even more so when I'm going to be playing games with somebody else, when I have a LAN party with my friends, or even just playing video games with my wife. I am so excited for Orbitals. That game looks amazing. That's one of the main reasons I bought the Switch too. I just get excited thinking about it, and it's not even out yet. And while one of the main kind of niches of this channel is video games, gaming isn't just video games. That also includes board games. I have been having both LAN parties and board game nights, and they have been some of the most fun and connective experiences that I have had hanging out with my friends. It is so fun to actually be in the same room as the person you're playing games with, to look them in the eye and see their facial expressions when they laugh or make a joke. That right there is one of the reasons why I'm still so close with a lot of my friends from high school, just because we get together on a regular basis and choose to do something connective with our time.
There is no way this just happened. Like, dude. What is happening? He just turns around and throws it out of bounds. Are you kidding me?
Now, the unfortunate reality of this is that just finding a good hobby to replace your doom scrolling with isn't probably going to be enough. We can't just expect ourselves to stop doom scrolling when there's another option available. We have got to make it easier to do that other option and harder to pick up our phones. It's the power of friction that makes picking up your phone so easy and doing those other hobbies so much harder. And all of the people behind the social media companies and the algorithms, they know this. They know that friction is one of the main drivers behind what you choose to do with your time. And they're going to make it as easy for you to sit down and scroll for just like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And we can use this knowledge to our advantage as well. Once you've figured out what you want to do, find ways to reduce the friction required to participate in that activity, and find ways to increase the friction required to pick up your phone. This could be turning off notifications, or putting a time limit on social media apps, or just deleting the app. That works too. This will require you to stop, to slow down, and to actually think about what you want to do with your time. Then you can make an informed decision instead of an automatic one. Growing up, my dad used to always say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So here are 3 steps that you can take in order to make a plan for yourself. First of all, decide what you're going to replace your phone with. Maybe it's a new game that you bought during the most recent Steam sale that you haven't had time to play yet. It might be a book that you've been looking forward to read, or even learning how to play the guitar. Pick what you're going to do right now the next time you find yourself scrolling, and I promise that you will be happier with the way that you've spent your time. Second, figure out how you're going to reduce the friction to participate in that activity. You could leave a book on your bedside table or your pillow, put board games in an easy to reach place, or even just make sure that your Switch is docked at all times so that it's easy to grab and take with you wherever you go. It doesn't really sound like these things will make that big of a difference, but trust me, they do. And number 3, increase the friction required to pick up your phone and doom scroll. Like I said, This could be deleting Instagram, literally just getting rid of the app and forcing yourself to go back to the App Store and download them anytime you want to use them. You could also put a grayscale filter on your phone so it's just less enticing to use. Or move the positions of the apps on your home screen. So if you have Instagram and it's always in one spot and you always click right there on that one spot, well, put a different app there, put a language learning app there so that when you're automatically going to Instagram, you'll instead open a different app and you can start learning Japanese that way. I don't know. There are tons and tons of ways to do this. Get creative and share what you end up doing in the comments. Maybe you'll help somebody else do the same. Here's the thing. I can't tell you what to do because I don't think I've got the perfect answer for every person. Plus, there are some good parts of social media if we use them in moderation. For example, if you're somebody who lives far away and social media is a way for you to connect with your family members and friends who live back home, I am not going to tell you that you need to get off social media because it will make your life better. Like, no. Use the tools that are available to you, but use them as tools. Don't let the tools use you. That's the distinction. Finding a good balance between playing games, spending time with our friends and family, reading books, doing hobbies, and even interacting with social media is the right way to live. I heard a quote from Dr. Helen Lavretsky, and she says, "It's important to add a life to years and not years to life." As a society, it sort of feels like we are obsessed with the idea of making our lifespans longer, with living as long as possible. But I mean, what is the point, truly? If we live 50, 100, or even 1,000 years, if we don't just use the time that we already have, if we don't take advantage of the beautiful nature that we're in. Look at this place. This is so pretty. I'm just gonna walk around for a second because I'm so excited to be outside. I love being outside, man. It's so good. What is the point if we don't use the time that we have and fill it with things that matter to us? So what are you gonna do with your time? Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Ciao.